Well, hey, everyone, welcome to the Gundam Explained show. I'm your host, Adam Blue. Joining me, as always, is Steven of Midnight Hatter. Steven, good to see you. But
Hey,
also today, we got a special guest, Hadouken.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Yeah, Hadouken, another Gundam YouTuber, Pokemon and then Gundam, but we'll talk about that. But
Yeah.
no, I came across your page. And I really enjoyed the presence because I'm always looking to improve how I do my stuff. So having the similar content in your presence, I was like, oh, this is fun to talk. And the coolest thing about getting into Gundam and finding others is then going through that journey of asking how they got into it, what was their first kit, So we're gonna get to that here shortly. So yeah, if you guys check the link in the description for Hadouken's page, you can check that out there. And yeah, so we'll get into a little bit of that first. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Hadouken a bit. Then we're gonna get into some news. There's been some Gunpla reveal that actually looks pretty cool.
just one or two.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty cool stuff. And then yeah, I think it's really just about that. Yeah, because I think we're gonna have a full show. But hey, here's something we ask Hadouken. I'll go first, but I usually say, hey, what's something Gundam we got into, or adjacent? It could be anime or another hobby. What's some stuff you got into this week? And as you guys think of that, a couple things. I finished Gundam X After War, and amazing. I'm gonna do another video about it. I put a video up about like some interesting themes throughout it that I find are similar to UC. I'll do another one where it's kind of explaining what the story is, because just to kind of get an idea. Sometimes when it's 40 episodes, it's like, well, what am I getting into? So but
such an underrated series. Like
Yeah.
it's just underappreciated, I should say.
Yeah, you never hear
I've
people
yet to
talk
see
about
it.
it.
Yeah,
And have you seen it? Yeah,
that's one I haven't seen. My Gundam anime side, I'm still really amateur on that front. I've only seen some UC
Can't wait to
stuff.
ask.
And...
Yeah, about that stuff, because it's on TV right now, by the way.
Oh,
But
really?
then I got the Robot Spirits Double X and the Robot Spirits G Falcon. These things are awesome. They combine. It's like the coolest thing when it comes to Japanese robots.
Cool. Yeah.
So I'll get into that a little later. And here's something that's funny. Tamashii, Bandai, SH Figure Arts, they came out with like these smoke effect parts.
Ooh.
Very cool.
And it's just plastic, and you see some of these with the Robot Spirits, and these are made for like the SH Figure Arts, like the 6-inch. But I was like, you know what, I want to grab some of this and it was like an Amazon. I want to say $20-something maybe, or 30. There's a bunch of little pieces. Steven, anything?
Well, aside from trying and failing to make that turn-based Gundam game last night on stream, which I did manage to fix. All it took was installing the 2022 version of Unity, and boom, literally everything that we were doing last night that went wrong is fixed. So now we have basically a prototype of a video game ready to go. But on top of that, and this is, I guess, is a little sneak preview. The folks over on my Discord know about it. At least the patrons do. But the entry grade GM conversion kit, we 3D printed some test parts this week, and they came together pretty nicely. So come March, you guys are going to get to enjoy a little 3D printable entry grade GM, which you might think it's like, oh, you just 3D print a head and boom, there you go. But it's actually, there's a lot more to it. So I'm excited to share that with you guys.
That's cool.
Yeah, I like that, because like I would love to be in a position where I could quickly pump out a bunch of GMs. I mean, I think like 4 of those older ones, from 2005 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And some of the newer ones, but yeah, it's like with my Star Wars vintage collection Stormtroopers, I have like 20 of them. I love that.
You gotta have army builders, man.
I know.
And the entry grade Gundam is just astonishingly posable. Like,
yeah,
it's a good kit, man.
It is. Yeah,
I like a lot of the entry grade lines. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, what Gundam related stuff have you got into this week?
So actually, right now, I just finished building up the real grade new Gundam.
Nice.
Crazy nice kit. I love that so much. That's what I been working on, And then recently picked up my first SD kit. I've never done one of those before, so interested to see how those go. I've read some mixed things, but ready to see if those are
Now,
worth.
which SD line is it? Is it like the Cross Silhouette, the BB Senshi, or is it like the Master Grade SD?
SDW Heroes.
Okay.
I don't know. I saw this when I was at Hobby Lobby literally earlier today. I was like, I've never seen this before, so let's pick it up and
be open-minded.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like I've gone through this, and you could look back in my videos, always open-minded in the first place to get into Gundam, but always a little closed-minded because I was always just UC, not SD. Slowly that has changed, like getting that Master Grade SD Strike Freedom. That's like everything I don't want.
Really?
Yeah, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. Yeah, seeing it in person, seeing a model kit in person sometimes.
Yeah, some of them don't translate over the same as they do, on video.
In person.
Dude, the Origin Zaku's, like the Origin Zaku 2s, when you look at the promotional photos, they look so goofy and dumb. But then, like, when you actually hold it and you realize that the proportions are not like this tiny head, and I mean, that's probably like the definitive Zaku 2 model. I say that about everything, though. It's like next week I'm gonna say like, oh, the real grade Zaku 2, definitive Zaku 2. Like,
that's another one I've got picked up and ready to build. Actually, is the Zaku 2 real grade. Yeah.
Oh man, be very delicate when you're assembling those the legs,
pipes.
The pipes.
Yeah, I've seen some horror stories with that, so I'm I'm taking my precautions there for sure.
Yeah, man, super glue's your friend.
Yeah. Well, yeah, okay, so then before we move on to the next thing real quick, if you guys haven't checked it, I have that video up of the Chogokin Mighty Strike Freedom. That thing is amazing. It's one of the coolest things, but I can't believe I had to do the stand repair. And in that video, I made the comment where I feel like some of those stands that are out there are just too flimsy, and you shouldn't be putting your Gunpla on these stands. It's not like I have accidents every day, but there's the 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or more times that they've fallen, and and then
look, you've got a 4-legged accident walking around there. That's going to cause you problems all day.
Yes, exactly. So, okay, yeah. So let's move on. So Hadouken, yeah, cool finding your channel. So did you just then like build your first Gunpla? Was it the Barbados like last summer or something like that?
Yeah, my first kit ever was the high grade Barbados Lupus, not the Rex. And that it was like, I know people call it like plastic crack. That's really what it was for me. I did my first kit and I was like, oh, I want like 20 of these things.
And yeah, that's well, how did you come across wanting to build it?
So it was dog days of summer. I was in between some big JRPGs I was playing at the time, and I was like, man, I don't really want to jump into another game. I kind of want to do something else. And with my wife at Hobby Lobby of all places, and I was like, I've never really gone down this aisle, seeing all the model kits and everything. And I was like, I think I know what these are, but I've never, picked one up. And I was like, they had like 40% off or something. And I was like, we'll pick one up. It's like $10, sure. And I got it, and I used a pair of pliers to cut them out of the runners. So yeah, I've advanced since then, so don't worry. But
that's cool.
Yeah, but it was, even with all the nubs and everything, I was like, wow, this is cool. I used to build Legos a lot as a kid, so it's just kind of like the natural progression. But it was, even though I had never seen any of the anime, I just got the kit. I was like, this is cool. This is fun. And I wanted to build a lot, and I've built a lot since, and here we are.
Yeah. And did you know about Gundam?
Very little. Like, obviously I'd seen, like the RX-78-2, like the head, and, I've heard obviously about it, but no, I knew pretty much nothing about it other than giant robots. Right.
Yeah. That's how I was too. Cause my first one was a real grade unicorn. And it was like insane. Yeah. And after that, I was like, okay, I need to get the one, with the V fin, that looks normal. Cause it's like, I knew that was So, and then did you go and watch one of the shows after you built it?
Yeah. So actually same realization as you. My next kit were one of my very, very soon after was the RX-78-2 3.0 Master Grade, and I built that while watching the OG 79 series.
Wow.
And so I had a great time watching the show, not a great time building the kit, but you guys are probably familiar with that one, no?
It's definitely a bit of a learning curve, right? Going from like a high grade to then, probably one of the more complicated master grades that has ever come out, right?
Yeah, it was. I was like, I'll build a couple of these small ones. Then we'll get to this one. Surely I'll be good. And then,
wow.
Even now, I think I would still struggle with some of those tiny arm. Like you have to like hang pieces on each other and then squeeze them together for them to work. It's a pain. I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, it's funny how there's some kits that are just perfect build. It was easy, and then there's just little parts of it that are just like, this just and then sometimes that same kit might be perfectly fine for someone because it's just a matter of the plastic just having to be off or something. And yeah. Okay, so that's pretty cool that you watched 79 first.
You did it the right way. That's
yeah.
I made a video just last week that was like, hey, how to get into Gundam. You watch it. Like,
yeah. I think that should be the natural starting point. I don't know if it's sacrilege or not. I watched the dub, but it was like redubbed in the early 2000s or something. And it holds up really well. And I think it's a really great jumping on point to kind of get familiar with everything. So I've since watched Zeta, Double Zeta, which that's its own thing.
Yeah.
Char's Counterattack, and now I'm watching Unicorn. So enjoying it.
Dude, yeah. So if you watch Double Zeta, I think that makes Unicorn a lot. You can appreciate more because there's little callbacks in that. And that's the thing. Like, Double Zeta, the beginning of it, really, and the fact that there's not a dub, but the beginning of it makes it a little tough to get through. It's just the back half is really good and the ending is awesome. So that's cool that you went through the main UC. Any outside of Universal Century?
I've watched Witch from Mercury, which really loved that one. I watched the first season of IBO. I still haven't got caught up on the second season, but I was mixed on that one. And then my favorite, I think by far, is either the 00 or I would slip my mind, the 8 MS team.
Oh, 8 MS team.
Yeah. And I also watched Wing, but that's all. That's a whole other thing.
That's the thing for me. I never watched Wing, so watching it now, it's like, to me, I was like, what is this? But there's this sort of like schlockiness to it that like I kind of have this nostalgia for how like anime it is. But
dude, if you just fast forward through all the Relena scenes, it's perfect.
And then just get to everything.
Anime.
I mentioned that it's like the suits are great, the soundtrack is great, everything else about the show is great except the show itself.
Yeah.
Oh man.
About 00. Oh wait, did you guys lose me for a second?
Yeah, sorry, I think
just a little bit.
Yeah,
hold on 1 second.
Coming in good now though.
You okay?
00. The 00 was.
But 00 was your. Yeah,
I think that's got to be like tops because I know the 8 MS team is kind of an OVA, right? So as far as like actual just series, I think 00 kind of takes the cake. Something about the world that they're in. I love all the suit designs too, and it's just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like any of the other shows really, if that makes sense. It's kind of got its own vibe.
I agree. I think that it of all of the shows, 00 is one of the ones that that definitely goes its own way. Like between that and say something like G Gundam, where it's like a complete departure from what you typically would see in a UC Gundam. Like Seed is really just like kind of reinventing the UC for modern audiences. Even Wing, to a certain extent, is basically just inverting the classic formula, where instead of the Earth being the good guys and the Space Noids being the bad guys, you're just flipping it around and saying like, the Space Noids are the good guys, which Zeta did it better, right? So
exactly.
But so did you get around to watching the 00 movie as well?
So I haven't, because is that on anything? From what I was looking at the time, I didn't remember seeing it on anything.
To my knowledge, no. I don't think so. To be honest with you, I didn't even make it through Double O the series.
Oh,
Like that's one
really?
of the big contentions between Adam and I is
Oh,
that
wow.
that I am one of the lone Double O what you call it
Hater?
rejectors, yeah, haters. But no, I've been told that I need to give it another chance. So hearing somebody, as enthusiastic about it and as you is definitely turning my head a little bit.
What kind of, if you don't mind me asking, what kind of threw you off of it?
Initially so like I only got through like the first 2 episodes, and it was a lot of the speech between, Celestial Being and the villains. Man, I don't even remember what they're were called,
Um,
but I was like, this aspect of like political philosophy is just not jiving with me the same way as like, say, even something as campy as like Trey's Kushrenada and
mm,
his whole thing, like, because obviously gets very poli sci on everybody.
yeah, yeah,
Check,
yeah,
check.
Yeah, can you hear us?
yep,
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys can hear me?
yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the
Sorry,
mic
I tried to keep us going. Are we
You
still
did. I
live?
was listening the whole time. I was like, "This is excellent." No, my mic disappeared from the thing and
Oh,
Oh,
now
weird.
reappeared.
it
Oh my
happens,
gosh. But great job, guys. Great job. Yeah. Okay. So other than O8MS team. Okay. Did you happen to see the Hathaway movie yet?
So I started it, but then I realized that came after Unicorn, so I was like,
Oh,
I'll hold
so
off
you're
on
gonna
that, watch
good job.
Unicorn,
Okay,
then
cool.
get
So
to
you're
that
going
one.
in order. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I
I
think
won't.
that's good. Yeah,
Yeah, I won't go too far on all that. Okay. So the other question is, okay, you built your first kit, and then you were talking about the other one, and then would you say you would buy at least one a week?
For the first month, one a week might be a little, might be underselling it a little
Yeah. No.
bit.
Okay. I
Yeah.
just wanted to see because
Yeah.
I would say the same. It was almost maybe, yeah, one day, and then maybe after a day or two of being startled of how amazing this was, like maybe a couple,
Yep.
and then a couple more, and then like, well, I'll just and then it's like every weekend. Okay, let's go.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden I've got a room full of them. It's like, how did this
Ah,
happen? Yeah.
That's funny. You know what? It's funny. I don't know if I've said this before. There was a time after I got into it where I had this like flash before my eyes of like a shelf
Yeah.
full of the Gundams, and I'm like, is that really gonna happen? And sure enough, it did.
Yeah.
And
I'll look through like my photos while I'm like posting stuff. I'm like, man, was it really that long ago I got that kit? That's just a couple months ago. Now I've got like 20 I've built since then. That's crazy.
okay, then what's out of all that you've built, what's one that stands out?
As far as master grades, it's might be a little bit of a recency bias, but I love my master grade strike. Um,
Oh, cool.
it's the I think it's is it the 2.0? I think it came out like 2016 from Seed.
You know, I'm not familiar with those, but I'm
It's or maybe it's the Freedom. Maybe I'm getting my names wrong here. I'm
no, I
That's
know what you
where
mean.
Adam is very helpful because, like, when he did that breakdown video of all the strikes, I was like, "Oh, that's nice," because I was
Yeah, it's funny. I just did the video for that reason because I
yeah.
felt bad that I would always talk with people and say like, "Oh, one of the strikes," or "I think it's the strike," or
yeah.
Yeah, I need
and
that with the double O's and the Exias,
yeah,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
honestly, yeah.
Yeah,
Because yeah,
yeah.
there's like
No,
the Exia Razor, the double O rate. Yeah, it's
so
that's
oh, go ahead.
no,
I was gonna say, so what's your favorite part of like the process would be, is it the building? Is it customizing, playing with them? Because like honestly, I have desk Gunpla that are like
Mhm.
the
oh yeah.
dedicated play Gunpla.
I think it's got to be like a mix between the build if it's a good kit, like with the real grade new Gundam, that was a blast to build because the inner frame was all awesome, and then just seeing everything snap together perfectly. So if it's a good kit, the build, and then if it's not a good kit, it's just about the posing. Whenever like I'm doing like like showing it off on like a short or something, it's so fun to see like, okay, can I move these pieces this way? Can I get this kind of stand? And then like my master grade Zagok, my favorite pose is like he's upside down, almost looks like he's break dancing. Like that was I was like getting that with that kit was some of my favorite stuff to do with it. Just seeing what they can pull off.
That's cool.
Really
Okay,
cool.
so then that brings up another question because, and there's no judging here. Like
Mhm.
when I first started building too, I didn't realize the nuances of what you can do to like fully refine your process. Like
Mhm.
even right now, when it comes to nub removal, I am nowhere near as good as I
Yeah.
probably should be with that. And yeah, sure, I don't have it where they stick out, but I'm also not really sanding as much as I should.
Right.
Um, let me ask you, are you doing any panel line?
Yeah. So I'll usually, if I'm just going, based on a kit, I'll do panel line. I'll try my best to get rid of nubs.
Yeah.
And then I try not to use the color correction stickers if I can help it. I'll
Oh,
paint those
cool.
on myself. And then if I'm doing anything else, like what I want to do with the new Gundam is we're gonna paint it in Char's colors, some kind of Sosby-esque colors. And so then I'll just go full crazy with that. And like I've got a somewhere over there, I can maybe grab it later, but I've got the Origin edition of the RX-70-2. My wife wanted me to have a pink Gundam, so I did a nice little pink version of it. So a little bit
Oh,
of that
okay.
too. Yeah.
And how do you use like an airbrush, rattle cans, hand paint?
Hand paint.
Hand paint. That's I think that's like there are people that say that there's only one way to do a kit, like it has to be airbrushed, and I think I don't think, just like there's no one right way to build a Gundam, there's no one right way to paint it either. So
Yeah.
Gunpow's freedom, right?
Yeah,
they
yeah,
say.
yeah. The painting has been interesting because at first I wasn't painting at all, and then I started hand painting, but I was very judgmental about how it looked every time,
Mhm.
And so then I was like, okay, I'm going to airbrush, and I think I went way too much into the airbrushing where I was overdoing it, where I didn't need to do it for every little thing, and
Right.
then it's like this balance. It's like I'm trying to look for perfection, but you're not going to get it.
Mhm.
It's more of where it takes you. And I feel like lately when I've been hand painting, I feel like if I don't really worry about it and I just try to have fun with it, it tends to just look good, just out of that.
Exactly. Yeah. I did I've got a Destiny, high grade Destiny Gundam. That was my first one I ever painted, and I didn't like do any priming, thinning, anything. So it didn't turn out the best, but I was like, okay, well, this is the starting point. As long as we're making a little progression with every new one, it'll surely get better eventually. So I think we're at a good spot.
Have you watched any of Seed?
Yes, I watched Seed, and then season 2 is that
Destiny.
Seed Destiny? I fell off very hard, like 2 episodes into Seed Destiny. I don't know
Oh,
why, but something about the animation quality seemed different,
oh.
and that usually doesn't bother me. But I really liked the way Seed looked, and then and maybe it was the characters they were
I
introducing. I
wonder,
don't know.
did you watch the HD remaster, or did you watch the original
Ooh,
Seed?
the HD remaster, I think, because
That might, yeah, I can see how that would be like
Yeah.
kind of whiplash, because you're going from like the newer version of Seed to like an old Seed Destiny.
yeah.
So there's
Which,
probably
and it's funny because Steven and I aren't really into Seed too much,
Mhm.
but I really like Destiny because to me, and so you might want to watch it more if you get the chance, because to me, it's almost like Zeta
Really?
Gundam, because it starts doing these things where it's doing these like callbacks and putting these characters into positions that were a little different than before.
Okay.
And then you have the multi-faction thing going on, with like the AU Titans and all that. And so,
Okay.
and then I enjoyed Freedom, but it's a funny thing that I joke about sometimes. I can't stand the character animations in the Seed franchise. I can't take it seriously. It's like the suits look great, the music looks great, but any sort of serious exposition that occurs just with the way they're drawn, I just can't take it seriously.
It's that early 2000s anime style. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and it seemed to evolve. It seemed to start going that way in the 90s, like the mid 90s. Like I started noticing that. I mean, even with 08 MS Team, I'm
yeah.
not too crazy about, Yeah, I don't want to hate on anime because
Yeah.
it's funny how, like, I really only got into anime after getting into Gundam,
Mhm.
and
Oh,
I've
really?
seen where so I grew up not really getting used to some of that.
I gotcha.
Well, what are some other things that you would watch other than anime, like maybe some other IPs you're interested in?
Yeah, so I mean, other than anime, I don't watch a whole lot, but I've seen like the staples, like Breaking Bad, Sopranos, all the high end stuff, and then in terms of anime, I've got my Attack on Titan. I love. I'm going to sound very basic, I guess, but a lot of the shows I really watched were a lot of these are the top 10 shows you need to watch, like Death Note,
Dragon Ball Z,
Dragon Ball,
yeah,
exactly. So I guess it was a lot of that. I guess a little bit of a sleeper pick, Psycho Pass. I really like that anime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never heard of that. Because I was going to ask, is there anything, even if it's not anime, that you think is like an awesome show or movie or something that not a lot of people talk about?
I don't know if it's definitely not a sleeper, but one of my favorite movies I've watched in the past couple of years, two of them, I guess. I really liked Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal. Yep, really like that one. And then I really like The Menu. I know I don't think that's a sleeper at all. I think that's very popular.
Yeah, that was I hadn't seen that, but I know what movie you're talking about. I need to see
my wife and I just watched that one too.
Did you like it?
It's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I like it. I think Anya Taylor-Joy is just she's like this generation's Jennifer Lawrence. She's just overexposed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, one of those things. Yeah,
that's fair.
Okay. Here's another thing. Video games.
Mm-hmm.
So, a video game something you've been into your whole life?
That was my big thing. That's, as you mentioned briefly earlier,
RPGs that you were in between.
Yeah, so that and Pokemon is where I got my start. That's all the way back when I was a kid. I started with Red, Blue, and Yellow on my cousin's Game Boy, and then from there played all those. But yeah, my JRPGs I was playing. I had just finished Persona 3 Reload, and then I was getting ready to, or I was kind of in the midst of Octopath Traveler 2, which I was enjoying, but maybe it's just because I also played all the Final Fantasies the previous year, so maybe I was just a little burnt out on them.
Wow.
Also really love the Metal Gear franchise, and I guess there's a little bit of tie over with that and Gundam, so I mean it kind of makes sense. So
yeah, I've been trying to get Adam on Metal Gear for years now.
I've always started the games, but could never really get into them because I'm huge into gaming, but narrative-driven games are not my thing. Even though there's good gameplay in those games, it's just navigating it. Like right now, I'm playing Avowed. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, Obsidian. I love all the Obsidian games too. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, see, what's funny is you'd hate this. I skip out all dialogue.
Oh no.
I do, and even right now, like I'm just pressing A at the top answer because the top answer is the best one to get the next quest.
Sure, yeah.
But I'm playing. But the reason I'm playing it though is because the combat is really good, and it's the setup I love to where I hold the left trigger, and it opens up a menu of like 4 different spells I could cast when I press the face buttons, and then the right trigger is my sword. So I'm like casting spells and then like smashing people, and it's
very Skyrim-esque.
Better, way better than Skyrim. Like I was not a fan of Skyrim. This game, it's almost like this game is more focused on its combat than it is being an RPG. Even though the RPG elements are there, it's just you can fast travel anytime, anywhere. The upgrade system, it's really just one set of clothes that you upgrade. Whereas the other things you put on just have little buffs for you, but like it's interesting because it's a streamlined experience, but it's all about the combat system for me.
Because it was supposed to be an MMO or something beforehand, right?
Right. Originally, it was supposed to be a multiplayer game, and then sometime in development they switched. Yeah, that's true. Any other games you're playing right now that are not JRPG?
I dabble into some Marvel Rivals whenever I get some time. Cloak and Dagger main. Do enjoy getting some of that in. Nice. I used to be big into Overwatch, and then Overwatch.
I was gonna say, speaking of hero shooters, were you into Gun Evo when that was?
No, that was like I think like right before I got into Gundam. I think.
Yeah,
I mean that was a very narrow window if you wanted to play it. Like, it was a year-long experiment of Gundam hero shooting.
From what I heard, it did not go good.
Exactly, you didn't miss much, and I hate to say it, but it was like not the thing. If you're into Gundam, that didn't do anything for Gundam,
I've actually got a whole list of like the old PS2 Gundam games
Oh,
that I'm gonna go
sweet.
through and try to do like some streams on eventually.
Yeah.
Because I heard that like Zeonic Front and like Journey to Jaburo, I think, are
Yep.
some really good ones. So I'll be
Yeah,
trying
there
those
are
out.
so many good ones, and I'm even figuring out new ones all the time. Just a few weeks ago, I was streaming one called UC Climax or something, and it's fun to play these different ones just to see what is the combat system like.
Hmm.
How different is the controls in the 3D space?
Yeah,
It, do you remember if you played any Gundam games before you got into Gundam?
I definitely don't think I did. Because I was looking, and I think the only one I could have potentially played is one on the DS, if I'm not mistaken. There was like a subpar double O game on the DS that I
Oh, okay.
think, if
Yeah,
I might be
that's right.
mistaken, but I think I might have played that again from my cousin. It was very influential in my gaming career, apparently. So, but
That's
but
cool.
other than that, I don't think so, because I grew up in a Nintendo household, so we didn't have like
Yeah.
PlayStation or Xbox for the
Oh,
longest time. Not
what
until I was. Oh,
what
sorry.
platform do you primarily play on?
Now it's a mix of like PC and PS5. Just kind
Yeah.
of wherever the game comes out. Like obviously, when GTA 6 comes out, that'll be on the PS5, and then if there's like some indies or something I want to play, I'll probably be on the PC. Vampire Survivors, that's one I've been playing a lot of.
Ooh.
I enjoy that one a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I played too much of that. They have this Castlevania deal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I loved it.
Yep.
I beat the entire thing except for the extra hidden unlockables. I
Yep.
was just like, I've done enough. I did it where I unlocked all the music pretty
Yep.
much. And
Yeah,
then
it's so fun just to like, okay, I got like 30 minutes, just
yeah.
chillax and kill some zombies and vampires. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, great. Yeah, and how often are you playing like different games like every few months?
It's kind of slowed down these past few months since I've gotten into Gunpla, realistically.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But I'll try to sneak in a little bit here and there. I've got some buddies from work. We'll do some hell divers occasionally as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Um, but I don't want to be one of those guys like, oh, gaming is dead or whatever. But I just haven't really found anything lately that's kind of really like hooked me yet. And I know that there's some. I think I need to try that. I'm gonna wait for that one to come to PC Game Pass. Um,
It's out on PC Game
oh,
Pass. That's what
well,
I'm
all right,
playing it.
I'll be back, guys. I gotta go do that real
Yeah,
quick.
yeah. No, yeah, it came out on the 18th.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I might be trying up that one then
But you know
because.
what? I will
Go.
say that you do bring up a good point. I think there's this thing for gamers like us
Hmm,
where there's not that many newer experiences anymore. They're usually just unique takes on what's familiar to us. So
right.
it's hard for there to be a magic, but it might be easiest to find a pastime, a coziness, but not necessarily a unique experience. I've been
Mhm.
trying, VR lately, and I've actually been super impressed with VR lately.
Has it gotten quite a bit better? I
Yes.
remember trying the PSVR one, and that was a
Yeah, I
skinny
had
bake
that.
waiting to happen.
And I even sold it, but once I mainly got it for Star Wars Squadrons, but,
Hmm.
like, the recent Starship Troopers game, it's a full 3D walking around, you're holding up the gun and
Really.
shooting, reloading, the bugs are getting on you, and, yeah, it's well done, very well done. Yeah, let's see. Okay, so then with the gaming aspect of it, there's Gundam games. Have you played
Mhm.
Gundam Breaker 4?
No, that came out like right when I was getting involved, and I really want to get into it because I've seen some really cool stuff, and I know it's kind of more of a hack and slash, which
Mhm.
usually I'm
Yeah,
not for. But
right.
if I could build my own Gundam and then just
Yeah,
beat up everybody, I'm down for that for
that's
sure.
that's the way to look at it.
Yeah,
It's
that's the
really
core
there.
gameplay loop.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's there to build your Gunpla. So and then I don't know if you heard that announcement of that Japanese only Vita
Mhm.
seed game. Yeah, coming out here in May.
Yeah,
I'm
I
playing
think I'll have to see some more of that because that one also looks like another hack and slash. I think.
Yeah, it's more of a hack and slash, but those games do typically have a stronger
Yeah,
loop.
it's a little more dialed in than like a
Yeah,
Breaker
Okay.
title or
yeah,
like the
exactly.
Dynasty Warriors Gundam series. That's obviously like a hack and slash.
Yeah,
But like anything from that era, which I think you're going to experience, like if you start playing through
Mm.
those PS2, PS3 era games, you're going to find that like, you know, they're definitely third-player action games, but they're third-person action games, but they have a little bit more structure to them.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. They do really, have a lot more structure to them. A lot of them I learned from Steven because, he was into Gundam already during that time when those games are coming out.
Yeah, during the dark times.
So
the Empire.
That's what I was gonna ask. So have you been into Gundam for like quite some time then?
Yeah, I'm like the 98 old head that I think Adam will tell you that the first Gundam game he played was actually didn't realize it was a Gundam game. It was Side Stories Rise from the Ashes on Dreamcast. That was also my first Gundam game. But I knew what Gundam was at the time. I just was only into Gundam Wing at that point. And so I'm playing this game and I'm like, where the F is the Wing Gundam? This sucks. Like, what's a GM?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's there was like a Gundam drought, I want to say, through the like early 2000s in the West, where just all the best games were all Japanese only.
I believe it. I feel like that's a lot of like, I guess Gundam's not niche, but like different franchises that originated there in Japan, a lot of that stuff was kind of locked. So like, I don't know, we don't know how Western markets are going to find this. And
yeah, like and sometimes it doesn't make sense the way they do it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Fire Emblem, I'm big into Fire Emblem too, and that was I remember that was early 2000s was nothing here. You had Roy and Marth and Smash Bros, and that was it.
Exactly. So were you aware of Fire Emblem before Smash or?
Age with I'm only 25, so at that time it was like I knew the characters in the game, but I didn't realize that they were from other games. It's like, oh, these are my Smash Bros characters,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
For me, I think I started Fire Emblem. I think it was Game Boy Advance was my first Fire Emblem game. I don't play many turn-based games. It's very like I do like Fire Emblem. I do like have you played the SDG Generation line of games? I don't know if you've seen those.
I don't think I have. No.
Okay, look up.
Get on your phone right now.
That's why.
G Generation Genesis, because it is a turn-based strategy game.
Yeah.
Where
it's coming to mobile now.
Yeah, that SD. Yeah, Eternal.
Generation Eternal.
Hey, Steven, do you happen to know when it's supposed to come out, or is it just they're doing the pre-registration right now?
Just the pre-registration, but as you might know, obviously, like they're running a pre-registration campaign. So the more people pre-register, the more like perks that you get at launch. So it's pretty exciting. I think like all but one perk has been unlocked, and so it's like as soon as the game comes out, you're going to get like a whole bunch of free tokens and free suits and all this stuff. It does have I think that the mobile version is going to have a bit of a gotcha element to it, but to Adam's point, G Generation Genesis and G Generation Crossrays, both I think are on Switch.
Yeah, Switch. For
Vita.
sure they're on Switch, PS4, maybe both of them. Crossrays is on PC.
Yeah.
And you can buy I guess the Switch, it's officially in North America in Switch. But there's an English version if you want it on PS4.
Or the Vita version.
Vita version.
Oh wow.
It's funny. I have, I had that too, and I was looking up to buy a Vita again. And it's like 200 plus if I'm really gonna.
And you got to get the big battery that's specific to it. And that's
here's the thing. I had sold my entire video game collection, and then this time last year, I rebought a 3DS because that was the one that it's hard to emulate.
Mm-hmm.
3D. But now I'm thinking, having that Vita because that Gundam game does have the cross save with the PlayStation version.
Wow.
So you could play on the console, play on Vita.
That would be nice, man.
Yeah.
That looks right up my alley. I'm definitely going to check that out because that's that and like XCOM. You guys ever played XCOM?
Oh yeah.
Those are some of my favorites. So that might be getting into gacha. I'm usually not into gacha, but that
and I think that's well, I don't know. The G Generation series is really good about this because it's similar to Fire Emblem. Like obviously, if you lose a unit in game, you don't lose the pilot, but you do lose that suit.
Okay.
So there is a bit of permadeath. You can always rebuild it, but like the idea that if you've been building up your whatever it is, like if it's the Psycho Zaku or something, it's like,
Mhm.
oh man, I've got a level 18 Psycho Zaku, and then it gets nuked by a turn A Gundam.
Gosh.
Yeah, and it's funny, the SDG generation has some DLC where it's like a horror level that can get you a bunch of coins, so then you can kind of level up your suits. Because I was using the Advance of Zeta suit. Are you familiar with Advance of Zeta? Have you seen?
I'd have to double
That'll
check.
be
I don't
something.
believe so.
Yeah, that'll be something down the line, because one of the offshoots of the various things like Universal Century is the Advance of Zeta, which it was a manga, a novel, where it took place before Zeta, but it was like
Mhm.
the Titans developing these insane suits like the Hazel.
Wacky
Oh,
Pro.
that's where these come from.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
something you should jump
Oh.
down the rabbit hole, no pun intended, because the rabbits, it's the names of the suits are based on that story.
Okay.
Watership Down.
Interesting.
Watership Down, yeah. So check that out sometime.
I will. Yeah, I'm not super familiar with a lot of the like extra, like
Yeah.
either the manga or the books. Like
It
I know
takes
there's
time.
like there's a whole wing set of manga that like
Yeah, Glory of the
make-
Losers.
yeah, Glory of the Losers. Yeah, that makes Wing. I don't know if you can see it back there. I got Endless Waltz on VHS, and
I was gonna
remember-
say, Zeonic Shadow in chat was shouting you out for that. And like, my man's an OG. He's got Wing on VHS.
That's awesome.
yeah,
That honestly was like the hardest thing about watching Gundam, like, in the early 2000s. Like I said, it's like my brothers and we would wait for the VHSs to come out, and it was like, we had to watch 3 whole episodes and then
Yeah.
nothing for like another 6 months.
you get to watch them on repeat, know every single frame, right?
Yeah, but you see, I missed that because you really soaked it in.
Mhm.
You soaked in all elements. Yeah.
Same thing with like gaming back then. If you get your one
Yeah.
game on your birthday or whatever, doesn't matter if it's a bad game or not. That's your game, and you're
Yeah.
you're gonna know it inside and out.
Well,
Yeah,
and to
now-
your point, like, no, I don't think gaming is dead, but maybe just our attention spans are so fried nowadays
Mhm.
that like we can't appreciate a good
Yeah.
game, and
Yeah.
we're kind of spoiled for choice. Like,
Yeah.
know,
it's the whole
Yeah,
thing.
like if I grew up with a Game Pass, I would have been. I don't know what I would have done, because that's having that many fingers or games on your fingertips it's
Well, it's
crazy
funny
to think
'cause,
about.
I have kids and they just play a couple games. It's like the free to play games or something.
Mhm.
It's interesting how it's just more about having a PC also.
Yep.
But no, I wanted to talk about this Gundam Next Future final. So I don't know anything about it except that on the 24th, there's going to be the Gunpla 45th anniversary thing. The main thing that I saw in there was this Mobile Suit Crossbone Gundam 30th anniversary special stage, which I think it's interesting to have a hour dedicated to Crossbone.
right,
It's just showing off something.
something with no anime.
That's
Like-
yeah.
I mean, I really wonder if we're going to get an announcement of a show or a series or something. I mean, I know there's always rumors, but because they've been talking about doing this next 100 for a while, and an hour dedicated to talk about Crossbone.
That's
I wonder-
another one that's only got a manga, right? Like,
Yeah.
'cause I've seen that, and I was like, where can I watch this guy? Because I've seen the Windmill Gundam, but I've seen the Crossbone. I'm like, where's this guy from?
No,
Yeah.
and that's Universal Century too.
Mhm.
Oh,
It's
It's
one of
in
the longest running mangas. I think what was the first one? It was like 86 or something like
my
that.
goodness.
Oh yeah, that's right, because it's the 30th anniversary. Yeah, that's
So yeah, I mean,
Wow.
Wow.
and it
Yeah.
to this day there have been offshoots. Like I think the most recent new Crossbone started in like 2011. I want to say. I'm sure Shirt Lad will correct us in chat.
no, but it's pretty cool because I like another element of Gundam in Universal Century. I like is like future Universal Century, which is
Mhm.
like the F91, the Victory. Steven's not a big fan of that stuff. I always like to make fun of it, but I like it because I think of it. Okay, what's the future like? Where of Gundam, and it's so Crossbone. It takes some from the F91 kind of stuff. There's a Crossbone Vanguard. It kind of shows another element because part of a pirate Gundam is kind of goofy. I can't say. It's funny because I wouldn't say I'm 100% on board for something like that, but I have the metal build, I have the real grade, so but I don't know, Steven, from what you know, what are the possibilities of them announcing like a show or series?
I would be very surprised if they were going to do any kind of animated.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're probably thinking it's not going to happen.
No, we might be lucky to get like some legit translations, as opposed to the fan translations that Xeonic Scans has put out.
Okay.
Maybe some new Gunpla. I don't know.
No, I like that idea. But then it's like, this is a Japanese sort of festival. Is it made for a worldwide audience?
That's true.
Okay, so here's the other thing. There's the Gundam Next Future final. Like, does it mean they're going to be done doing this project? They're like, never mind, we're not going to come out with these projects, and you know what I mean?
So I guess I'm not as familiar with Gundam Future. What exactly is Gundam
It was this thing they announced where it was like they were going to start talking about Gundam stories that happen, in the future. Like and sometimes you'll see like 100 next to it because it's like 100 years you see in the future.
And they have that the Next Future Pavilion where they have it's that RX-78 with like the blue. So it's the moving Gundam, the FF00, but they added some like special I guess
coating or whatever.
They're calling it like psycho frame plates, like kind of similar to what you see on the narrative Gundam, but they're blue. And I think it has like a wing backpack, like.
That's right.
They basically took the moving Gundam and then made it a statue at this new pavilion, and that's where they've been airing all of like the like that ALC encounter.
Oh yeah,
And don't worry, I'm just as confused.
Yeah, that I don't know what any of it means. I just know that
it's there. Yeah,
things happening with
there's a thing there.
Yeah,
and something about a Twitch model, Lala, like e-girl Lala dancing on a cell phone, something like that.
Yeah, well, and that's another cool thing about Gundam is you might have noticed it. They're always announcing things. There's always something. Oh, so like G-Quacks, is it playing anywhere around you?
Yeah, I think I can go to. I think in like Wichita or Kansas City, they're gonna have them.
Yeah,
and I definitely that's next weekend. I think the what's called
like
the beginning or whatever the movie's called. Yeah. Definitely gonna try to go see that because I don't know about you guys, but I like the design of those suits.
I do too.
Yeah,
I mean, I like that it doesn't look like Gundam necessarily because this is an alternate UC. I'm like, leave my UC a certain way. Like if you're gonna do that, make it alternate, and that's okay. Yeah. So, well, do you like Evangelion?
Love Evangelion.
That's cool because I just started watching it about a month ago. I'm maybe halfway through, and I'm really liking it. I was actually surprised. At first, I was really bored, and then I kind of understood what it's doing. It's a vibe show. You have to be in a vibe.
It's a vibe show till it isn't. I'll say that. Yeah.
All right. So next up is some of the announcements they have for these kits. They have this high grade military and police Zaku from G-Quacks, which is pretty cool. And I guess it really just takes the Zaku design, and it's like they just did something different with the legs, the waist and legs.
And then I kind of like the thicker torso too. It's kind of almost like all bubbly, almost this whole kit, like very stark versus the very like I guess like slashy and very like angular design of the G-Quacks. I feel.
Yeah. And Steven, like I feel like you'd hate this.
I do. No.
Okay.
No, yeah. You know what? The more I look at it, the more it evokes that sort of like body horror style anime. Like it looks like something out of like Akira.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
So,
and that's kind of what I'm digging about this show, because it's got that angle to it. Especially looking at the face. Of the like on the Red Gundam, just what the eye or the mouth is supposed to look like, it just makes it look all
spider faced.
Yeah.
I just love the Elmith bits on the shoulders. I love that idea.
That is a pretty cool touch.
Yeah. Okay, so this stuff is pretty cool, I guess, but building people is actually kind of fun. I've built a couple. But
I've never seen any interest in that, in my opinion.
And I didn't at first. It came over time, and there's another one. There's a pilot there's 2 pilot characters that just got released recently from Double Zeta and Seed Freedom, and I want to get them because I also like action figures, and so it kind of.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
So, okay, I'll be honest. As a gun cannon interpretation, I think this is not cool, but I think it looks cool on its own.
What's funny is, like, to me, this is probably the least offensive design from what we've seen.
Well, and for me, it's this isn't interesting as what the gun cannon is supposed to represent. And maybe I'm thinking of it too deeply because sure, it looks a little sturdier than the other ones, but I would think they'd maybe go far in a direction of, okay, what would an artillery type,
maybe like really emphasize, like, I know the G-Quax has like those big hoofs almost, and maybe using that as like a stand to kind of really fire that big gun.
Yeah, that's
I want to get one cannon. Like, how are you going to be a gun cannon with one cannon?
Yeah.
But Beam Saber though was interesting though for the gun cannon. I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And chest canisters. What do you think is inside of those?
Oh, hey, you know what I just realized? Oh yeah, the chest canisters. Yeah, it's called the light cannon. So that can explain. So that's neat. That's a whole different type of cannon.
There you go.
There might be a more heavy duty version then.
Yeah. And so that explains the lightsaber. And yeah, those canisters, that's pretty interesting. All right. And so yeah, some decals. I thought I saw something too where there's also some Seed Freedom decals that they're releasing for like the Rising.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So what it seems like is high grade, they'll release high grade kits, but then they'll also sell stickers for them separately. Which that's cool that they do that. It's just it would be neat if they just included them.
Yeah.
Or they sold them with them, But
I feel like that's the biggest complaint I've seen about people from Bandai is just that, why is this not already included in the kit? Or why is this separate,
Yeah. Okay, so there's some option parts set here for some Gunpla. Oh, the MGSD Aerial. I enjoyed building the clear type Freedom. Is that something you're into?
I don't like the clear Gundam so much, but I do want this kit. I am a bit upset that we don't have a master grade of this, but we're getting a master grade SD, so I guess we'll take it because I really like the Witch from Mercury designs a lot.
Have you seen that Full Mechanics one? That's like
yes, I've seen that one. But
I've never built one like that, so I'm not too sure.
It's a bit out of my price range right now.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a cool one to me because this is reminiscent of those crazy Double Zeta suits where they really went in that direction, and I like it. And this looks good because I'm also into the Robot Spirits action figures. I don't know if you've seen those. They have like the Ver anime, so they look just like they are in the anime, and I get that vibe from this. Now I don't know if
the coloring is like perfect, like proportions.
Yeah. That dark green specifically is just very like it.
Yeah. Especially in contrast to that lighter green. Like this looks like a fun kit to build.
Yeah.
So, and surprisingly, I'm not a fan of Wing, but this stood out to me for some reason, and I guess this is actually the TV version, and they never did that.
Yeah, okay. And I think it's got new transforming gimmicks as far as like the Wavebird is designed. Hopefully they're going a better direction with this than they did with the Verka Zeta, but we'll see what happens.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know that I've built the high grade and I've transformed the robot spirits, the metal robot spirits of that, and it's easy and great transformation. So, but with the real grade, there's just so many pieces. That, I get it. I bet it makes it a bit challenging. So,
but now you can actually recreate the television finale with your Epion.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah, that Epion, that real grade Epion is.
That's on my wish list.
Oh, yeah. Here's those decals. That's pretty cool because I have the Rising Freedom, and I was thinking of getting some decals for it. Because I have some high grades that I'll go back to, and I'll be like, I could probably now with my new skills do something more with it. But Yeah, so yeah, that just about does it to the end of the show here. So Hadouken, it was great, yeah, for you to be on. So let me ask you, like, what are your plans then with your channel? What is it you're trying to do?
Really, just kind of trying to. I know it's like the cliche bit, but right, but like build
No,
an audience and like just
yeah,
have people, because I'm so new to the hobby, and from comments and stuff that I see, a lot of other people that are watching me are new to the hobby as well, and just kind of getting people interested in gunpla, really, whether that be with the shorts I'm doing, or like I'm gonna be doing a video about the real great new Gundam, and just kind of my journey with each kid, kind of thoughts I have, and just hoping to inspire others to do the same, to get into the hobby, because I like it, and I think it's like it's not like any other hobby in my opinion, and so
yeah.
just want to get people into it, really.
Now what do you call it? A follow-up question to that
Mhm.
is like, have you built any non-Bandai model kits yet?
I built a, I did build a, I don't know if this would count or not, but I built like an AliExpress bootleg,
Oh no, that's cool. What one
of
was it?
Does count, yeah.
the Nautilus, from Double
Yeah.
O,
Oh,
and it was hot garbage.
oh, I think you had a video or short of that. Yeah,
Yeah, I did a little
okay.
short on that one because it's not good. Just
Yeah,
a lot of,
we've both gotten bootlegs, and they actually didn't turn out too bad. So it probably depends
really.
on the kit.
Yeah,
I was
it
gonna
is
say I've
definitely
heard
hit or
people
miss.
say like there's like a Spartan, that bootleg is
Yeah,
not
there's
too
a
bad.
Spartan that's supposed to be good. Yeah,
I
yeah.
did see a Mazinger. Is that the name of
Yeah,
the? I saw one
Mazinger,
of
yeah.
those. Yeah,
Oh,
and that looked pretty interesting, but
So,
haven't
well, if
paid
I
money
can
for
make a
it.
recommendation, get your hands on one of the Kotobukiya, like, Metal Gear Rex model kits.
oh,
Ooh.
They're very hard to find, but, like, whenever they are in stock, I think that they're actually price-wise pretty in line with, like, a master grade.
Oh,
That
really?
Metal Gear Rex is so sick.
I did not know that existed, but now that is automatically moved to the
See,
top of my
that's
list. Yeah.
I got you. I got you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, there's this cool little trifecta convergence, whatever, video games, Gundam, and like our hobby and all that.
Mhm.
It's kind of funny how that is. Yeah, and that's why it's fun to talk Gundam. So it's really cool to have you on. And yeah, I suggest everyone that's watching it, check the link in the description for his channel. Check out his journey because it's been fun, checking that out. Do you think you'll
Appreciate it.
have any other type of content?
Yeah, I know I'm very honed in right now, but I do want to kind of expand a little bit, do maybe some videos on some of the games, and then maybe just on
Cool.
other stuff in general I'm doing. But I think I have it in my bio that it's just whatever I'm hyper fixated on at the
At the
moment.
moment,
And yeah,
dude, I get it. I know. That's really cool. So yeah, well, cool. Well, yeah, everyone, thanks for watching. Well, yeah, we'll be back next week with another episode. But until then, have a good one. See y'all.